When the full daylight came at last, they all got to their feet and stretched their poor cramped bodies, and then the centipede, who always seemed to see things first, shouted, "Look, there's land below!" "He's right!" they cried, running to the edge of the peach and peering over. "Hooray! Hooray! It looks like streets and houses, but how enormous it all is!" A vast city, glistening in the early morning sunshine, lay spread out 3,000 feet below them. At that height, the cars were like little beetles crawling along the streets, and people walking on the pavements looked no larger than tiny grains of soot. "What tremendous tall buildings!" exclaimed the ladybird. "I've never seen anything like them before in England. Which town do you think it is?" "This couldn't possibly be England," said the old green grasshopper. "Then where is it?" asked Miss Spider. "You know what these buildings are?" shouted James, jumping up and down with excitement. "Those are skyscrapers, so this must be America. And that, my friends, means that we have crossed the Atlantic Ocean overnight." "You don't mean it!" they cried. "It's not possible. It's incredible. It's unbelievable. Oh, I've always dreamed of going to America. No, oh, I've always dreamed of going to America," cried the centipede. "I had a friend once who—" "Be quiet," said the earthworm. "Who cares about your friend? The thing we've got to think about is how on earth are we going to get down to Earth?" "Ask James," said the ladybird. "I don't think that should be very difficult," James told them. "All we'll have to do is to cut loose a few seagulls. Not too many, mind you, but just enough so that the others can't quite keep us up in the air. And then down we shall go, slowly and gently, until we reach the ground. Centipede will bite through the strings for us one at a time." Far below them, in the city of New York, something like pandemonium was breaking out. A great round ball as big of it as a house had been sighted, hovering high up in the sky over the very center of Manhattan. And the cry had gone up that it was an enormous bomb sent over by another country to blow the whole city to smithereens. Sorry, I was off focus. The air sirens began wailing in every section. All radio and television programs were interrupted with announcements that the population must go down into their cellars immediately. 1,000,000 people walking in the streets on their way to work looked up in the sky and saw the monster hovering above them and started running for the nearest subway entrance to take cover. There's the pandemonium down below. That's the Empire State Building. Generals grabbed hold of telephones and shouted orders to everyone they could think of. The mayor of New York called up the President of the United States down in Washington, D.C. to ask him for help. And the President, who at that moment was having breakfast in his pajamas, quickly pushed away his half-finished plate of Sugar Crisps, sugary cereal, it could be any old president, and started pressing buttons right and left to summon his admirals and his generals. All the way across the vast stretch of America and all the 50 states, from Alaska to Florida, from Pennsylvania to Hawaii, the alarm was sounded and the word went out that the biggest bomb in the history of the world was hovering over New York City, and that at any moment it might go off. 34. "Come on, centipede, bite through the first string," James ordered. The centipede took one of the silk strings between his teeth and bit through it. And once again, but not with an angry cloudman dangling from the end of the string this time, a single seagull came away from the rest of the flock and went flying off on its own. But are they social? Do they want to stay together? The seagulls, I mean. "Bite another," James ordered. The centipede bit through another string. "Why aren't we sinking?" "We're not. We are sinking." "No, we're not." "Don't forget, the peach is a lot lighter now than when we started out," James told them. "It lost an awful lot of juice when all those hailstones hit it in the night." "Cut away 2 more seagulls, centipede." "Ah, that's better." "Here we go. Now we really are sinking." "Yes, this is perfect. Don't bite any more, centipede, or we'll sink too fast. Gently does it." Slowly, the great peach began losing height, and the buildings and streets down below began coming closer and closer. "Do you think we'll all get our pictures and then papers when we get down?" the ladybird asked. "My goodness, I've forgotten to polish my boots," the centipede said. "Everyone must help me to polish my boots before we arrive." "Oh, for heaven's sake," said the earthworm. "Can't you ever stop thinking about—" But he never finished his sentence, for suddenly, whoosh! And they looked up and saw a huge 4-engine plane come shooting out of a nearby cloud and go whizzing past them not more than 20 feet over their heads. This was actually the regular early morning passenger plane coming in to New York from Chicago. And as it went by, It sliced right through every single one of the silken strings, and immediately the seagulls broke away, and the enormous peach, having nothing to hold it up in the air any longer, went tumbling down towards the earth like a lump of lead. "Help!" cried the centipede. "Save us!" cried Miss Spider. "We are lost!" cried the ladybird. "This is the end!" cried the old green grasshopper. "James!" cried the earthworm. "Do something, James! Quickly, do something!" "I can't!" cried James. "I'm sorry. Goodbye. Shut your eyes, everybody. It won't be long now."